Narration begins. The Hollow family had always lived in the grand Victorian mansion on the outskirts of Ravenswood. A house so ancient, it seemed to whisper secrets through its walls. Generations had come and gone, but something had always lingered in the darkness, watching, waiting. One cold October night, Eleanor Hollow and her husband, Daniel, moved into the mansion with their twin children, Oliver and Grace. They had inherited the house after the mysterious disappearance of Daniel's great-aunt, Margaret. The townsfolk spoke in hushed whispers about the mansion's cursed past, but the Hollows paid no heed. They were a family of logic, of reason. Ghosts were merely stories to them. But they were wrong. The first night, the house groaned under the weight of time as Eleanor put the children to bed. Oliver, the more skeptical of the two, laughed at his sister's unease. "It's just an old house, Grace. Nothing more." But that night, as the wind howled outside, Grace woke to the sound of whispers. They slithered through the darkness, faint and unintelligible. She turned to Oliver, but he was fast asleep. The voices grew clearer, as if speaking directly into her ear. "Get out." A cold breath brushed against her neck. Terrified, Grace buried her face under the covers, her heart pounding. She tried to convince herself it was a dream. But then the closet door creaked open. The hinges screeched like nails on a chalkboard, the darkness inside seeming deeper than it should have been. A pair of glowing, hollow eyes peered out from within. And then, the whisper turned into a shriek. The presence, strange occurrences followed in the days to come. The mirrors in the house would fog over, revealing words written in an unseen hand. Footsteps echoed in empty hallways. Doors slammed without warning, and whispers filled the air at odd hours of the night. One evening, as Eleanor was unpacking old boxes, she found a leather-bound journal. It belonged to Margaret Hollow. Flipping through its brittle pages, she found desperate scribblings. "The shadows whisper to me. I see her in the mirror. She is not me. She is something else." Eleanor's breath caught in her throat. As she turned the page, a name was scrawled over and over again. Lillian. That night, the air in the house grew unbearably thick. A rancid odor of decay filled the hallways. The walls, once a dull gray, seemed to bleed. Thick, black liquid oozed from the cracks like veins rupturing under the surface of diseased skin. Objects moved on their own. Eleanor found chairs stacked in impossible formations. The family cat, Whiskers, hissed at empty air, its fur bristling. Daniel began hearing his name whispered when no one else was around. The air carried an ever-present tension, as if the house itself was alive, breathing, waiting. The haunting intensifies. That night, Daniel was jolted awake by a strangled scream. Rushing to the children's room, he found Grace sobbing, pointing at the corner. She was there. She was watching. "Who, sweetheart?" Eleanor asked, stroking her daughter's hair. "The woman in the black dress. Her eyes, they were all wrong." Oliver, usually fearless, clutched his sister's hand. "I saw her too, Mom." The temperature in the room plummeted. Eleanor's breath came out in visible puffs. A guttural whisper filled the air. "You should not be here." The lights flickered violently. Then the bulb shattered. Darkness consumed them. The room fell into a deafening silence, except for the faint sound of something scratching from inside the walls. The noise grew louder, more frantic. And then, a loud bang. The closet door swung open on its own. A shadow emerged, its form unnatural, limbs too long, neck craning at an impossible angle. It slithered forward, dragging itself toward them with grotesque, twitching movements. Its mouth opened, stretching far too wide, revealing rows upon rows of jagged teeth. Eleanor grabbed her children and ran. The truth unveiled. Determined to uncover the truth, Eleanor sought out the town's oldest historian, Mr. Hawthorne. He listened intently as she recounted the events. "The Hollow Manor has always been cursed," he said gravely. "Margaret was the last in a long line of women who suffered the same fate. And always the name Lillian appears." "Who is she?" Eleanor asked, dread pooling in her stomach. Hawthorne hesitated before answering. "She was Margaret's twin, a child of darkness. They say she was born still, but something unnatural took her place. Margaret was the only one who saw her for what she was." Eleanor's hands trembled. The twins. Her twins. She rushed home only to hear screams from upstairs. The confrontation. Oliver stood in the hallway, frozen in terror as Grace levitated off the ground. Her eyes had turned completely black. "She wants me," Grace whispered, her voice layered with something inhuman. "She wants to come back." A shadow slithered from the walls, forming the silhouette of a woman in tattered black lace. "Lillian." Eleanor lunged for Grace, but an invisible force threw her back. The entity loomed over the child, reaching for her. In desperation, Daniel grabbed Margaret's old journal and began shouting the name scrawled within. "Lillian Hollow, leave this place." The specter let out an ear-splitting shriek. The house trembled as the walls cracked. A blinding light erupted, swallowing the darkness whole. The shadow convulsed, its form twisting as it let out a horrifying, guttural wail. Its body shrank, folding in on itself before it was sucked into the mirror, leaving only a spiderweb of cracks behind. Then silence. The aftermath. Grace collapsed into Eleanor's arms, her eyes back to normal. The house, once so suffocating, now felt empty. The Hollows left that night, never looking back. The mansion stood in eerie silence, its curse seemingly broken. But in the cracked mirror of the abandoned house, a shadow moved, and a whisper echoed through the darkness. "Not yet." Epilogue. Years later, a new family moved into Hollow Manor. A young couple with their infant son. The walls, now repainted, seemed to hold their breath. The house remained quiet, until the baby monitor crackled to life one night. A soft voice, laced with malice, whispered, "Hello, little one." Then the closet door creaked open. The darkness had never left. It had only been waiting.